Good evening. Welcome to the July 14th Limerick Select Board Meeting. If everybody join me for flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I have a motion to accept this week's warrants.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Okay. Motion to approve July 17th meeting minutes.
7th.
7th, pardon me.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. And the motion to approve July 7th grievance hearing minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Okay. Announcements. Wade?
The Select Board will meet on Tuesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a policy review workshop. The Select Board will meet on Tuesday, July 21st at 7 p.m. The Planning Board will meet on Wednesday, July 15th at 7 p.m. The Select Board is looking for 2 new members to join the Budget Committee. If interested, please contact the Select Board admin at selectboardadmin@limerickme.org. And the Select Board is looking for 4 individuals to join the Appeals Board. If interested, please contact the Select Board admin at selectboardadmin@limerickme.org. And the Select Board is asking that you silence your cell phones during meetings in order to limit interference with microphones or discussion of agenda topics. And as part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public, will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. For your convenience, complaint forms are readily available at the sign-in table.
Thanks. We have department reports. Because of timing and John has to drive a little distance, we'll go with John Cleveland first.
I have copies of the presentation. Do you have those in your packets, or would you like a copy?
No, you guys should have them in your packet.
Okay.
It's one title, Central Avenue Water Replacement.
Yeah, that's it, yep. I think we're going to, Neil, of course, treasurer of the Water District, I think the way to move into this, give you a brief update on the Deep Vale project, and then we can move into the new project.
Thanks, John. Neil Meltzer for the Water and Sewer District. I want to give an update to folks on the status of the existing Deep Vale project. There's been 592 feet of new sewer pipe installed. There's been over 2,000 feet of new water pipe installed, including about 500 feet up Watson Hill. There have been 20 customer connections and 2 new hydrants. So the construction part is effectively done, and the paving has begun. We've been working very closely with the road commissioner to make sure that the paving is in accordance with how he would like it to be. Where the road has been torn up, major sections of the road will be repaved, not just patched. On Watson Hill, there'll be a patch, not a patch, but a strip up the left-hand side. And again, this is all in accordance with what the road commissioner felt would be appropriate. So we expect the paving to be done within the next 1 to 2 weeks. I think it's a vast improvement. We've replaced 100-year-old infrastructure. We've got the sewer line now away from Secocas Lake, which is a good thing. And we have some nice clean water line running all the way up to our existing new water lines. So that kind of tells you where we are with the existing project. Some of you may recall, the initial project also called for going up Central Avenue. The funding wound up not being available, so we cut it back to just the Emery Corner Road piece. But now, because the project on Emery Corner Road and Watson Road has gone so well, there's some additional funding available. And I think, which speaks to the ability to now move forward on at least a portion of the Central Avenue extension. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about the existing project, but I'd like to turn it over to John, and I'll be available to answer any other questions I can at any point. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
All right. John?
Thank you. For those who may not know me, either here or listening online, I'm John Cleveland. I'm with Community Dynamics Corporation. For those who've been here a while, you know that I've been working with the city since the 1990s on a variety of projects, and I'm very happy to have done that and all of the work that we've completed. The reason I'm here tonight, as Neil alluded to, the project that the water and sewer project is happening on the Emery-Cormy Road called Deepvale had to be cut back because we didn't get all the funding we wanted. But the good news is that we got very competitive bids and the project went very well. So the money that we do have provides an opportunity to now include the water section on Central Avenue. So just for those who might not be familiar, and you have it in my report, the summary there, the project on Central Avenue would start about at Prospect Street, where the most recent new water lines are. It would go from Prospect, the intersection with Prospect Avenue, about 560 linear feet, up Central Avenue on the side where the new sidewalk is located, up to about where Dunkin' Donuts is. And that's the portion of the old water line that is there in Central Avenue. So in addition to the 560 linear feet of new 12-inch main, water main, it also includes 9 new services to the buildings, the residences that are there. And what will happen is that because it will be on the sidewalk side, those buildings will be connected without having to go through across the road, Central Avenue. I think you all know that recently been paved. So there are about 3 on that side. The other 6 across the street, the connections will be made by either boring or pulling the water service there, so you don't have to dig up the road to do that. So that will save the road from getting redug up again. And there'll be 1 new hydrant replacing a very old hydrant that's at the end of that line. And then that will connect, this new section will connect onto the 8-inch line that goes further down Central Avenue to do that. There are several important reasons for trying to do this project, and that's why we wanted to do it originally when we started, is that water main and the sewer main is more than 100 years old, put in when the woolen mills were working here. The pipe is very old, it's way past its useful life there, and as was the practice more than 100 years ago when they hand dug everything, they put the water and sewer lines very close together. So when you have old water and old sewer lines right near together like this, there's a real potential there'll be leakage from the sewer line, and that sewerage leakage could get into the water main and contaminate not only Central Avenue, but the system in general. So upgrading it would really be an important step forward in protecting the health and welfare in the community for this area. And it's currently an 8-inch main. We're looking to put it a 12-inch main because this is a major arterial that carries the water for future development down that Central Avenue. And as you all are aware, it's likely you're going to have to extend water line to that contaminated area. So best to put in what you need for future development and serving the larger community. So that's why a 12-inch line is recommended. The other reason this is important is that you have an opportunity to do this right now. You will recall that the community got a $1 million grant from the Community Development Grant Program, State Community Development. The way that grant works is they pay 75%, community has to come up with 25%. So right now, based on the expenditures that you had, which are, and I'll go over the numbers in a minute, a little about $1 million so far. But that means that the grant pays $750,000, and that leaves $250,000 on the table, because you don't get the grant money unless you have an expenditure for it that you can then draw down from. So you have about $250,000 if available right now from the grant that you could put to good use to this much-needed water project. So that's an important consideration. And when I go over the numbers, you'll see you also have matching funds, so already existing, that you could match that money with and pay for the expenses for the program. The other thing that makes it convenient to do it now is that you could proceed with this project by doing an amendment to your existing contract with your contractor, and you won't have to go out to bid and wait for all of that to come back in, and they gave a very good, very reasonable price. So by amending the CDBG scope of work and amending the contract, you could proceed, and they're prepared to start in September if you authorize it to go ahead. Let me turn the page and talk a little bit about the numbers. You have those there in front of you as well. You also have a map of the area I just described, and off to my right here, for those who might be looking online or from the audience, that's a map of the area that we're talking about. So Dearborn Brothers has given a quote for this extension of the project as I described it for $331,000, a little over $331,000. There'll be a little bit of project management costs for your engineer, about $3,000, and about $2,000 for my administrative services over the life of that project. We've also added in, simply because it's good management process, $300,000 in contingency fund. You had a contingency fund in the Deep Vale project of over $290,000. We haven't had to use any of that, so that's one of the reasons we have money available. So this $300,000 is there in case.
30,000, John. 30,000.
Oh, excuse me, thank you. Senior moment here. So 30,000. So that is there in case there is an unforeseen expense. When you do excavation, you're never sure until you've done the excavation if there's going to be something unexpected. So you don't want to have a project go ahead without having a contingency to cover that expense should it happen. We hope, like in the Deep Vale project, that it doesn't. So the total amount for the project estimate with the contingency is about $366,000. Now, funds available. Being conservative with these numbers, but we're near the end of the project, so we can estimate fairly closely. Of the total project amount that was available, which was $1,300,000, the expenses are a little over $1 million. So that leaves about $292,000 remaining in the funds that were already budgeted, including from the grant money available. I also understand, and I've included a copy into your packet from your audit from 2024 from the Hollandale project that was done with local money and with federal and state funds. It appears that project went well, and there's a little over $57,000 that remained from that water and sewer project approved by the voters here in Limerick. So that could appropriately be allocated towards this water project as well, if it's the pleasure of the board. So, so the total amount of those two funds is about $350,000, and the water district has said that if needed, they would add an addition, a little over $15,000 if you had to get into the contingency and use that kind of money. So that equals the $366,000 for the project. So we think that the funds are here to do the project, that they would be well spent. To use those funds, you have to be available and not leave $250,000 on the table, and do a very important and vital project for the community. I'll end with that, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
John, if we decided not to go ahead with this, that means all the monies that are left over goes back to the state?
That's correct. You would, yeah, that $250,000 would go back to the state, and they would allocate it to the project in some other community.
Right. Hey,
Howard, I think you hit on a really important point, and John's tried to stress it. For every dollar that the town puts in now, and this is money that's already allocated, doesn't have to raise any money, the money's there, we're going to get $3 from the state. We're not going to have an opportunity like that again. This is an opportunity to use the funds that were dedicated for this kind of project to move forward and to leverage state dollars in a way that this town has been very successful in doing in the past. As a small community, this is the only way we can do these large projects, is to leverage state dollars. We can't afford to do it by ourselves. John also mentioned that it's just a matter of time, it's when, not if, the water services have to be extended down Central Avenue. We're working a variety of angles. The code enforcement office has been very involved in trying to look at funding. The DEP was here not too long ago, gave us their unhelpful answer. Sorry, but that's kind of how I feel about it. And I think that by running that 12-inch main now, we're setting the stage to be able to serve the rest of the community that's going to have a safety situation in the very near future. So this is a good investment for the town. It's money that's already been allocated for this. The money's sitting there. It was dedicated for this purpose. And as John said, because we have an existing contract, we have an existing contractor, all that's necessary is a change order on the existing contract, which the select board can authorize.
based on a meeting last week when we were going over the plans, I think everybody should understand that the present sidewalk is going to get dug up.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's unfortunate that this sort of timing happened that way, and which leads me into explaining the timing a little bit too. When we originally started this project and requested funding from two different sources in 2024, we anticipated the whole project that we just described to you, although we also included some sewer work on Central Avenue, which we don't have money for right now. We did not get funding either. We were put on a wait list in 2024 from the state CDBG funds. They do it in 2-year cycles, so we were put on for the first year in a waiting list. That was also the year that we had asked for congressionally directed spending. You're probably familiar with that. We've used some of that here. But in 2024, the federal government was not able to actually adopt a budget for the federal government. What they adopted was what's called a continuing resolution, which says we're going to appropriate money that the same levels we used the year before. In that scenario, all congressionally directed spending for that year was eliminated completely, including for this project, which had been approved and was in the Senate budget. It never got adopted. So we had anticipated this because the Water and Sewer District community knew that it was important. It went to your town meeting. They approved the project that would include Central Avenue. I did the required low moderate income survey that included Central Avenue and submitted that to the project. We also had to do an environmental review. That was done. We included Central Avenue in that, and just in anticipation to get it done. So both of those major aspects have already been done and anticipated and had been presented to the citizens who approved funding for this that we're using going forward. So this is a now, so that leads, we had asked back then when Dunkin' Donuts was going in, could you, Maine Department of Transportation, could you hold off? Because we're going forward with this project, we requested funds. Because of the delays I described to you, we weren't able to start it in the year that we thought. The Maine Department of Transportation did delay it for quite some time, but then got to the point where they said, we really need to get this done. So we were just a little bit behind that schedule, unfortunately. So it's going to go where the sidewalk is, and included in this project is rebuilding the sidewalk.
The town voted a year plus ago to move all the Hollandville money into the deep account. And that money was supposed to be part of the matching funds for this project. So,
John?
yeah.
You good? Yeah, go there.
The town previously voted to move all the leftover funds from the Hollandville project to the Deepvale project. Those funds were supposed to be part of the matching money along with other funds to get the government money. How do we, with all due respect for John, he's done a great job and I respect him greatly, because he says we got $57,000 left doesn't make it true. I mean, where is that? I'd like to know where that money is coming from, and I think you guys need to find that answer. I mean, where's this magic $57,000? It was originally 100 and something, and I thought that's what we moved to cover the town share of the matching funds for this project. And now some audit somewhere says there's $54,000 or $57,000 left.
Yeah, this is from the audit report here. But you're right. I'm just going by the...
That should be in the bathroom.
All right. All right.
You want to say something,
The
John?
Hollandville money has never been moved, whether it's 5 cents or $50,000. It's never been moved, to my knowledge, into Deepvale. It sits in Hollandville. And I think you have a printout of that report from Rio.
We needed that money to complete this Deepvale project, no?
It was
Yes or no?
supposed to be, the residual money was supposed to be moved, period,
To
at
Deepvale,
the end of
Hollandville.
the audit.
And we needed that money to do the Deepvale project. So how did we pay for the Deepvale project if the money never got moved?
Because originally,
I have a question for John.
because originally, it was a bigger project, and it was scaled back, John. Okay? It was scaled back. Remember what John just
Forgive
said?
you.
Yes.
That's why. All right?
Please, thank you.
When
So-
that scenario included that money, but it got scaled back to just Emery Corner Road and Watson Hill.
But now we are spending all of the money.
Yes.
Now the project's going out to spend
Yes,
everything
and
we
we're
have.
asking for that to be moved, yes, right here. Right there.
Well, it was a lot,
Still in
you know it was a lot more than $57,000 to start.
I know, but auditors made adjustments. It was, I saw a number that said 122 at one point, but it's all of these adjustments are done, as far as we know. 2024 is closed.
I guess I would think you need to know you have the money before you spend it. I mean, I think this project go forward. I think it's important. I would advocate for finding the money somewhere else if we have to. But know you have the money before you move forward.
I just want to ask you a question before we got out, before we left. John, I just had a question for you. Do you know what year it was voted on? It was a public vote?
It wasn't public vote. It's been probably 2 years. I don't think so. It was a public vote.
Okay. Do you know if it, just last question, per like state law, is there essentially an amount of time that these things need to be enacted upon when public law? But I really don't know.
I don't know.
All right, thank you.
John? Something else? Neil?
The point that John's made and that Gail has tried to address, those are good points. You know, we can only act on what the auditor's records show us. And this is what it shows us. With that said, the trustees of the water district and the sewer district recognize the importance of this, which is why, one, they've said that the inspection services would be donated by the district. Two, in the budget that you've seen, there's over $15,000 of water district funding available, should it be needed. If for some reason the funding is $24,000, $28,000, I don't know. We can just go by what the auditor says. This is what's supposed to be in that account. Should there be a shortfall, not $50,000, $60,000, but should there be an additional shortfall, the trustees of the district feel that it would be important for the district to step up and do what it could to address that. Good to know where the money is, absolutely. And what I'm saying is, we have some additional support necessary if needed. If we don't move forward now, we're sending $250,000 back to the state. And that project won't get done. It won't get done. We won't move water line away from sewer line, 100-year-old water line away from 100-year-old sewer line. We won't set ourselves up to address the contamination issues down the road. We won't do that. So I understand the concerns. They're valid concerns. At some point, we have to trust the numbers that we have, and also recognize that, as I've said, the district has said that should it be necessary, they would be willing to continue to step up to help address a shortfall.
John, do you have anything further?
No, I can't address the internal financials. That you would have to look at that, but I would encourage you to make sure you're comfortable with any of those numbers.
We'll follow up on it
Yeah.
before we go ahead with this.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that. Brad,
I just had a fine.
you want to come up?
Yeah, sure.
If we do find the money and the project is approved and we move forward, the sidewalk that's getting torn up, are we going to be able to get that replaced with a sidewalk that matches the rest of our town sidewalks? Or is it going to be put back the way it is that I believe we didn't expect to get what we have there? Just curious.
Tony, you want to, Neil, you want to address that?
So I think right now, Brad, on Main Street, we have concrete curbing, and We spoke with the contractor when we were putting this together, and that is what they're planning on doing, concrete curbing. So it'll look like the rest of town.
Gerald?
This project is good, you know, all well and good, and we need the water, but it seems so every time we have a little section, we have to raise more money for another section. I don't know about a lot of other townspeople, but I'm tired of paying extra. If you got the grants and stuff, that's fantastic, but it's always more money out of the taxpayer's pocket, whether you live on Main Street or you live up on the mountain. And it's just getting to the point where there's no end. We think it's going to be okay, but that sidewalk, do you know the prices that had gone up over this time? Nothing's going to come to budget, and this will work, but Hollandville was okay. Now Gail says, well, that was supposed to be in a Deep Vale. I thought I heard Hollandville or Vale or whatever so many times. Didn't know it was supposed to go into Deep Vale. Everybody's just wanting a piece of everybody. We don't have enough money in the town to even paint this building. People don't want to hot top the driveway. And here we are bringing all this money we have to pay to, and I feel bad about the water, okay? But why do we have to pay for an extension in water and sewer for a small amount of people? There's got to be other grants and stuff to do. I am tired of paying out my taxpayers' money.
Yeah, we're not raising any more money here.
No, but money is going towards the Dearborn's bills out of ours. 25% of this project is coming out of our pockets that we voted on. Well, are we going to vote on it again, or is it just going to be extended like the contract? It's got to stop someplace. The money's just drying up.
It's unfortunate that that sidewalk was put in prior to this project coming along, but unfortunately, the state in their great wisdom, they do what they want to do, and they could care less about the municipalities and their utility services.
But the project was behind schedule, so what are they supposed to wait forever?
Well, I would say they should wait until we get our end done. Brad?
Am I mistaken? The town didn't pay for that sidewalk anyway, did we?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Question. I think it's a good idea. We're being proactive. The contaminated water up on Washington Street, going out of town, is gonna cost us a lot of money. So yeah, we may have to pay some money now, but we have money to go towards the grant now. They're in the middle of doing it now. To me, let's be proactive, cost us less in the long run.
And we're replacing a 100-year-old piece of
Right.
pipe, which I'm amazed it landed this long. Anything else, John?
I don't have anything more. I'll just note, when you're ready to proceed, if you decide to go forward, the things that would need to be accomplished is obviously approve the project to go ahead with Central Avenue. We'd also need to amend the agreement with the Community Development Block Grant, and I'll check into that to see if they would be okay to do that. I think they will. And then obviously if you proceed to go ahead, there would have to be a change order that you would have to agree to as well. So those are the three things, if you need to choose to go forward, that would need to be accomplished.
John, can you make sure that the grant money could be applied towards that before, before we get knee-deep in, working on this to get
Right.
everything together? If it came out that, oh, no, we can't use those
Yes.
grant funds for this, that would just collapse the whole project at that point.
Yeah, certainly that was my next step, is to contact them and let you know if they're comfortable with doing it, because obviously if they weren't, that would change what your decision would be. But I will confirm that they would be okay with that.
Thank you.
John, to that point, my understanding is that you've been in contact with CDBG throughout all of this.
Yeah.
That you've been keeping them informed of the progress and keeping them informed
Yeah.
of the possibility of going up Central Avenue.
Yeah.
Reminding them that they had initially seen that proposal.
Right.
And they've been very forthcoming and willing to work with us on projects of this nature when there's certainly safety issues. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, that, we try to make sure to work with our partners and keep them informed, so we don't want to surprise them, blindside them. So as we've been looking at this, we've been sharing the information with them, including what the, the idea, what the project is, what the scope is, what the quote was from Deerfield. So Neil is quite correct. We have been sharing that with them. I haven't asked them directly now, is that okay? But that's a question I will ask them.
One of the reasons why we're in this dilemma is because when the engineers came back with the estimates, we didn't dare bid the whole project because I think it was like 1.4 million or 1.5 million. 1.6 million. And so we didn't dare bid the whole project. If we had known what the bids were going to come in, if the engineer's estimate and the bids were more closer, we probably would have bid the whole project. And at that point, we wouldn't have been in this dilemma. It would be all taken care of. Another thing is, if we extend up Central Avenue, I'm not sure how the water people will look at if we leave the existing water line running right close to the sewer line like it is now. I'm not sure how they'll look at that, to extend it and increase a more precarious situation. So when we pull the water over on the other side, we're going to pull it away from the sewer. So that'll be taken care of. Thank you.
Does Dearborn feel that there's enough contingency fees in it for any complications along the line?
I think that, their bid is, we're not going to hit any ledge down there. I mean, that's almost a sure thing. They've aware of all the crosswalks and all the stuff that's going to have to go back in the sidewalks. Those are expensive issues. They put it all in the bid. It's only less than 400 feet, I believe.
560.
560.
Oh, you mean the sidewalk?
No,
Yeah, the
water
line, 560.
560 feet of 12-inch main. That'll be replacing an 8-inch main that is on the other side of the road. And we'll be replacing a hydrant that's not in very good shape. The hydrant right there by the doughboy is not in very good shape. And that one's going to have to be replaced shortly anyhow. So,
how is the line from where you're going to terminate that down by Dunkin' Donuts to, let's say, out the footwear?
That was done in 1958 when they put the I call it the green mill or Limerick machine.
Okay.
That was done in 1958. So
what's the chances that we're going to have problems with that down the road?
I think that's ductile iron and not just cast iron. That's ductile iron, and ductile iron is basically a cement-lined pipe, that's 8-inch down through there. So that'll supply quite a bit of water. Thank you. Any other questions?
First of all, I want to thank all those that were involved in these numerous projects to get the water and sewer up to date. They've done a fantastic job, and especially finding money that we didn't have to borrow. So I guess my question is, are you looking for only the unexpended balance from the Hollandville project, or are you asking for additional funds from the taxpayer for this project?
We're not asking for any additional new money. These is all money that was appropriated for the water and sewer projects that have not yet been expended, and we're redirecting them to this project.
Thank you. The last thing is, and I think this might be the correct ballot article of November 7th, 2023, where the voters approved overwhelmingly to transfer the unexpended balance from the Hollandvale capital project into the amount blah, blah, blah. Overwhelmingly, and it was a Select Board recommends and Budget Committee both recommended yes. So this wasn't just a willy-nilly, the Board of Selectmen is going to expend money without voter approval. So the voters were asked, there was a presentation, and it was voted on. But my last question is, this was voted on November 7th, 2023, which, okay, we're moving into 3 years. So this hasn't been transferred up even as of now?
I'm not sure who asked the question about the length of an article, but I had that same concern. I came to this board numerous times saying, do we have to put these on a ballot again? And there was never any concern. Okay, so Deepvale is not the only warrant article that has not been addressed, that has not hit the books yet. This is not the only one. There's tens of thousands of dollars that have not moved into the right account. And we have lists of them. Thank you.
Gail, am I correct that you have specifically addressed the board on this particular article
Yes.
numerous times in the past?
In writing, many, many, many times, and many reports to the auditors ad nauseum. I'm up to here, and I've given up.
Thank you.
Anything else? Tony?
The last thing I'd like to say is, in order for us to move forward with this project, we have to have an answer from the Select Board. And the sooner we get the answer, the quicker that we can secure the contractor. They're talking right now, there'll be September 1st that they'll be back in there. But he told me, don't lollygag, there's a lot of work coming in, so I'd appreciate it if we move it along. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, I don't have any picking up my papers, but I'd be happy to come back at your well, as soon as you'd like me back, I'll get an answer, and I'd be happy to come back and give you the answer on the funding.
We'll follow up on these balances. Okay, next, Neil, did you have anything else to add here?
I don't have it.
Okay. Okay, next, code enforcement. Stan?
Good evening, Stan, Code Enforcement. For the department report, I'm going to give you a year-to-date for 2026. So far, building permits is $66,089.94. Business licenses, $11,250. Less the state plumbing fees, $1,891.25. The plumbing surcharge fee, which is also paid to the state, is $300. So the total fees collected is $75,148.69. Total permits to date, 73. single-family homes 19 and one duplex. We're down from last year, but again, it has just started escalating. The permits are really starting to roll in now, so no telling what will happen there. So we did get a renewal license for an alcohol license for the brewery on Patterson Road. Because they've been in business less than 5 years, they have to have a public hearing. Otherwise, because there's been no complaints, the board has the right to waive that as long as there's no complaints. But the statute does say if it's under 5 years, so if you could decide on a public hearing date for them, I wouldn't anticipate anything major happening because there has not been any complaints there. And prior to them, it was a brewery for many years. So,
But it continues to be.
I'm sorry?
It continues to be a brewery.
It continues, but they have to annually renew their alcohol license. So they're asking to renew their license, so the town, the select board, has to again approve it, and the only way you can do that is having a public hearing.
Okay.
Courtney, time-wise?
Make sure this thing is working. So we have to advertise it for, I believe it's 10 days. So we get it in at the end of this week, that'd be next week, the week after. The 4th is the special town meeting. So we could do it the 11th, do the public hearing on the 11th before the select board meeting.
Schedule it for 6 o'clock.
I don't think you'll need to do it early because I know it's not it hasn't in the past, it's been very quick. You could probably even do it if you advertise it at your special town meeting and just get it done. But it's a fairly quick thing.
It hasn't been a year since that license was approved.
Yep, it was.
Yes?
Yep.
Doesn't seem it.
So,
So August 11th then?
At 6 or 6:30.
Let's do 6:30.
6:30.
okay. So the other thing, you did get an email from me today. CIA Salvage 41 Range Road did submit an appeal on the approval of his conditional use for 41 Range Road. So I gave Courtney the originals. We do have to get a appeals board fairly quickly because they need to respond to him within 14 days. So it's time-wise, we're in a crunch. So that's, the planning board has not signed the official notice of the decision. We'll be doing that tomorrow. But his attorney decided that he wanted to appeal the 2 conditions of approval, which were previously existing. But again, he has the right to an appeal. So I'd ask the board to try, if I can be of any help locating people, I will, but we do need an appeals board. So one of the last things I have is the tax acquired properties, which you got the updated list from Caldwell Bankers, which is Peggy Hill. She did fix that. You have that. If you want to approve it, you can go ahead and do that. She changed to 6%, just like the others, to be shared with the buyers. It wouldn't be, that's that. But, and that is lot 4297.
I believe that's the one we just signed, right?
Voted on it last time pending changes.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and if you do approve it, it would be 2 weeks from today before we would come back with any offers. You have had an offer on map 38, lot 3, which will be presenting any offers next week. So, the other thing, the LAC committee met last Friday. Roger Berger from Lake Arrowhead attended. He would like to be appointed to the board as well. We were short a member. As you know, I'm not a member, but Martha was not unable to attend. So would the board appoint him to be on that committee, is what he's asking.
I would make a motion to approve him and appoint him.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to appoint him.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Thank you, and I'll let you guys do the rest of your business. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing of citizens. Do we have anyone?
Lisa LePage, reporting on Hysterical Society. Wednesday, we have week 3 of bingo. Doors open at 4:40. Bingo calling starts at 6. The other thing is we had a craft fair that we were doing on Saturday, the 18th, up at the Old Congregational Church. That has been canceled. There is no craft fair Saturday, the 18th of July. Our next one will be November 7th. Questions?
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Thank you. I apologize if my voice cuts in and out. I've been down south, so the AC's throw me off. Chairman and members of the board, I'm here tonight because I'm deeply concerned about what I believe is a growing pattern of retaliation, intimidation, and a lack of transparency within our town government. This is not about personal disagreements. It's about whether citizens can question their government without becoming targets. Many residents voted with the understanding that their decisions regarding certain voting would be honored. Since that vote, actions taken by the board appear to undermine the practical effect of the voters' decision, leaving many residents questioning whether the will of voters is being respected. There are also ongoing concerns regarding unanswered FOIA requests involving public records and taxpayer funds. Maine law strongly favors transparent government and public confidence in municipal decision-making. Citizens should not have to fight simply to obtain public records or understand how decisions involving taxpayer money are being made. There are also concerns regarding decisions that affected public confidence in the board, including changing the select board meeting night in a way that prevented a sitting selectman from participating because of a known work schedule. Whether intentional or not, many residents viewed that decision as excluding an elected representative from participating in town business. Unfortunately, instead of answering legitimate questions, members of my family have repeatedly been subject to public attacks. After my mother started questioning the handling of concerns involving the treasurer's office and the implementation of the public vote, she reshared a still image from the board's own publicly recorded meeting showing Selectman Lori Harmon leaning back with her eyes closed while my mother was speaking on that specific issue. The discussion was about a public official's conduct during a public meeting, not any medical condition or disability. Yet, this selectman's spouse, Mark Harmon, publicly accused my mother of attacking the selectman's disability, called her for her removal of the Historical Society, called for my father's removal from the rescue department and encouraged residents not to support the fire department, rescue department, and the historical society. My father has also been publicly accused inferentially of serving on the rescue department without the qualifications required and of receiving compensation he was not entitled to. Those accusations are false. He possesses the qualifications required to serve. Statements were even made by Selectman Lori Harmon's husband, Mark Harmon, that he and other people he knows would rather let their homes burn down than have him respond in an emergency. These kinds of personal attacks have no place in our community. 2 weeks ago, Chairman Howard Burnham publicly singled out my mother during a select board meeting, accusing her of posting that town employees had not been paid on time. Now, my father isn't a town employee, and that statement directly reflected his experience. My father's the one that posted this. The issue became serious enough that the Maine Department of Labor became involved. Rather than addressing the underlying concern, a citizen was publicly criticized for bringing it to light. But what is perhaps most concerning is the pattern. Residents who ask questions, submit FOIA requests, question election procedures, or speak at public meetings should receive answers, not personal attacks, intimidation, or efforts to discredit them. Whether viewed individually or together, these actions create the appearance of retaliation against citizens for exercising their right to participate in their local government. I respectfully ask this board to recommit itself to transparency, professionalism, respect for the will of the voters, compliance with Maine's public record laws, and the fair treatment of every resident, regardless of whether they ask difficult questions or disagree with those in office. Our town deserves better than division. It deserves honest government, accountability, and leaders who welcome public participation rather than discourage it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I didn't bring my hearing aids today, so first of all, I want to thank Lori Harmon and her husband who stopped by my property the other night. It was getting late, getting towards dark, so they didn't get a chance to see too much. It was a quick meeting, and I told them to come back when it's daylight, and they can check it over again. I want to report that I did something that I regretted yesterday. I went and see Steve Richardson. And I get along with Steve. I've gone hunting with him. He does my work for me, works on my backhoe. We're quite friendly. He knows what's going on with this situation. And I asked him if he'd be willing to write something to verify that he did the work on the road. He's not receptive to that, due to the fact he doesn't trust the town. So there's nothing that would put you in jeopardy. I said, what about if I bring you here and I ask you the question, did you do the work on the culvert or didn't you? He says, no, I'm not going to do it. But then he said, it's not needed. You have all the information you need in town. I said, what are you talking about? He said, the paperwork is in town that who did the work. And it's very specific and outlines what was done to the culvert. I didn't catch on what he was trying to say, and I was letting him know that I was a little upset that he wouldn't do this for me. He said, listen to me. Everything you need is at the hall. The paperwork's there. And I said, what do you mean? The billing on the job? He says, yeah. He said, I said, well, is it mixed up with other paper? He said, it's specific to the job by itself. It shows the work that I did, that was done. It shows the aggregate that was used, the size, he's got everything. He said, it's down at the town hall. Once you get that, he said, this is a done deal for you. My response to him was, are you a betting man? Because I'll bet you 2 to 1 right now that that paperwork has disappeared. Well, that's coming from the horse's mouth who did the work. He says it's here in this somewhere in this building. And that will clear everything up. The other thing I want to, and then I called him up this morning and I apologized to him. I said, I got to thinking it over. It's not my responsibility to go chase an employee from the town who I maintain did the work and try to get him to write a note to saying that he did do it. That's the town's job.
What year was it done?
What's that?
What year was it done?
It's about 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years that he did the work. Now, what I want to know is, you people haven't been kept up to this. When I said something to you a little while back, Howard, and I said, are you up to date on the work that's been regarding my, you said bits and pieces. Wade had a little bit, because I bug Wade now and then, but you people, have you been kept up to breast when Stan made these moves? The first thing that should have been done when Stan would have told you that I'm saying that Roger Lovely did the work on that road, and I say I didn't. The first thing that you should have done is go to the guy that I say did the job. If you would have gone to Steve immediately, he would have, sure, I did the job. But now he's out of the loop. He doesn't want to be bothered. That's the common sense thing. If I say you did this, and I say, no, Steve did it, and Steve's on your employ, you'd go to Steve right away and say, hey, Roger Lovely's saying that this happened, and, well, Stan is saying that Roger Lovely's told me that he did the work on the road, and he's telling me that you did the work. That's what should have been done immediately, and then you would have gotten the answer from him. So he's telling me now, when I ask him, he's emphatic. He said the work, everything you need is down on paper. So I guess he's telling me something. And if that disappears, something's wrong. That means somebody's making it convenient so they don't have to follow through with this. It's not good for me, and it's not good for you.
In the past, anything that was done like culverts or anything like that that the town did, like down your area, it's usually documented on a worksheet, a work record. And those, we've got all those.
He just told me, he came up to me and he said, it's on paper. Everything is there. The aggregate, everything.
I think he's referring to what I just said, the worksheets that they turn in every week.
Yeah.
They put on where they work and the materials that was used.
Because I asked, I said, is it in a bundle with a bunch of, he says, it's specific to that job. So
Okay,
I don't know.
But do you know what year that was done?
It was in the last 3 years, I'm guessing.
Was?
And the other thing is, did anybody go up and see Steve and ask him? It would have been easy to do. Did you do the work, Steve?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Rick Richardson, Road Commissioner. This project was done 12 years ago, I believe. Mr. Lovely had a water issue, and the town did correct it. My brother did correct it with my father. Everything was fine. Mr. Lovely decided he didn't want to look at the riprap that they put in and buried it. So, when the town addresses a drainage issue and the homeowner decides to go out there and bury it, whose problem is it now? It's not the town's problem. It's not the taxpayers.
I'll give you a rebuttal on that.
It's not the
12 years
problem.
ago, Steve Richardson was unplugging the culvert. I saw the cones on the other side of the street, and I said, what are you doing, Steve? I'm unplugging the culvert that's blocked up because that winter they had put cones. That was 12 years ago. And I said, what culvert? That's when I went over the other side of the street and I looked at it, what he had. So what he did finish doing, he unplugged the culvert, came on my side of the road, dug it out, and he put those like quartz rocks. He put that around. Riprap around that area. So when I was mowing my lawn, those rocks would be there, and I said, hey, Steve, can I make a circle around these? He said, sure, go ahead. That's what happened. Don't give me that bullshit that I took it apart and rebuilt it.
I didn't tell you, I didn't say you took it apart.
Well, you just suggested that. Get it right.
Suggested
12
it?
years.
I'm addressing the facts.
The fact that I didn't touch it.
Stan Hackett, our code enforcement officer, has paperwork that there was a spillway down there before he owned that property, and he blocked that spillway, and now it's a problem. And my father and brother addressed that issue because there was a drainage issue, and they addressed that issue, and it worked good until he covered it up. We met out
The
there with
DOT,
Stan.
the DOT, this Department of Transportation is specific. Stan told me that that culvert is not the town's problem. He told me that. So I called the DEP, and the DEP referred me to the DOT, and I told them, they said, let me look at the records. And they looked at the road, and they said what year this road was turned over to the town. And they told me, this is by, I got his name, and I got the date that I called. He said, the minute we turn that road over to the town, they own it, and they own any problems that come with it. And Stan tried to tell me, somebody put that culvert in, and it's not us, so we're not. So when I called, and I let them know, suddenly I don't hear that anymore. And they told me if it's shown that that culvert that's in that road now causes a negative effect on someone's property, it's their problem to fix. That's from the DOT. You want to call them and check it and verify that?
I'd be more than happy to.
Or go ahead.
You had a water problem, and the town addressed it 12, was it roughly 12 years ago, roughly?
12,
And
yeah,
it's
that was when the culvert was plugged up. Because there were cones on the other side of the street in the wintertime, because if that plugs up, then it floods the road, because the water's coming in from the other side.
Did you just say 2 years ago they addressed this problem? Because 2 years ago, Scott Parody was the commissioner.
Scott Perry was getting the information from your brother. He was supposed to do the job. And I was there when your brother was his last year. His last year. He had done that. He had done that culvert about 2 years before. So he was ready to do the job, and he says to me, I'm not road commissioner anymore. I gave it up. I said, well, who's the road commissioner now? He said, Scott Parody. I said, I got to start this all over again. So I get a hold of Scott. Scott comes over the house, and he looks at it. But he's not quite sure, because this is all a new thing to him. I said, what about if I get Steve Richardson together with you, and he can explain what's going on here? And they did. They got together across the street, and I was standing with them. And then Scotty says to your brother, if I get the okay to do the work, would you be willing to do it? And your brother said, yeah. So what happened that year, your brother's going to do the work, but he said, I got to finish some work. I'll do it next year. The next spring, he comes over and he says, yep, I'm going to probably start it this year. He comes back to the house and he says, can't do it. Why? Well, I'm told Parody didn't put it in the budget for next year, so we can't do it. So that gets all shut down. You better stop and check with your buddy.
We had a meeting at your house with the code enforcement officer and I believe it was 2 selectmen.
You had it with one guy.
Bernie was there.
Bernie, you know.
Stan was there.
Bernie and Stan were there. We showed it. You popped up one morning without giving me notification. I was going to the mailbox. All 3 of you come in. You're walking up towards the wall. Bernie's walking up the wall like this. What's going on here? Okay, here's what we're going to do. You look at the wall and you point at it and you said, that's your problem. Now, there's a culvert 14 inches in diameter coming across the street, and I have a wall here. Now, the water comes underneath the road, and it got nowhere to go. It's blowing up. It goes under the wall, and it goes through my land. And you said to me, there's your problem, the wall. And I looked at you, and I said, so I take a section of my wall out, the water's never going to come through anymore. And you looked at me like a deer in the headlight looks, and you walked away. That's what you did. I remember vividly.
I said the problem was when you...
The wall, you pointed at
The
it.
wall was, a stone wall, water will go underneath and through a stone wall. When you excavate
Right.
and you put concrete in the
Where's,
ground,
what,
you
where's
create
it
a
going?
dam.
Where's it going
Guys,
after it goes
hey.
underneath the wall? Where's the wall
Have a good
going?
evening.
Where's the wall going? Where's the water going? The water's all going underneath the wall because it's got nowhere to go.
Roger,
Howard,
Roger.
how about if we, Jerry, if you can check with Stan to pull the file to see what was used to build the retention pond?
I personally think we should, as a board, go down there and look at this.
You gotta find out if that paperwork is here.
I'll check with Stan tomorrow, but I personally feel if there's no detrimental damage to that road that prohibits
Not
the
the road,
citizen.
to the property.
I'm concerned about the road. I'm concerned about the citizens of Limerick traveling a road that's maintained by our road commissioner.
Right?
Personal property is personal property. I'll talk to Stan tomorrow. I'll see if we can find the records when this work took place by Steve. That's
Steve Richardson looked at it with his father when they were road commissioners. Steve said, yeah, there's a problem.
okay.
The first thing he did, he said, we're gonna try. We're gonna build a retention pond near the road and hopefully the water fills and doesn't overflow.
Okay. Now, this is
That
gonna take
didn't
time. But this is gonna take time because on your part, you haven't provided dates that I can go to the records and pull it out. So it's gonna take time to find this. I will work with Stan. I will find those records and we'll meet as a board at some point at your property and discuss this further. But to stand here tonight and talk about past history and other people doing, that were other contractors and other road commissioners, I feel that this is a blatant waste of our time.
Well, the paperwork is supposed to be here according to,
I just told you I will address it.
find that paperwork and we're okay. We're all done.
We need a timeline.
It's either he's gonna say, I didn't do the work, or I did the work, one or the other.
Okay, John?
Start looking for that paperwork at least 10 years ago, because I dealt with this with the gentleman at least 10 years ago with Bob Richardson himself, so it's not 2 or 3 years. It's at least, it's at least 10, but that's, I don't want to, we don't need to waste more time on that. A few things. The gentleman that came here and stood last week and disparaged our fire department, shame on him, okay? Shame on him, and I wish he was here tonight. That department's gone through decades, long before my time and I was ever around here, of great leadership. It's been through turmoil, and it's been brought back. And the day Vinnie Pelletier stepped into that department as chief, it turned a huge corner, okay? And since then, it's been doing nothing but move in a positive direction. And Jared was given a contract to do a job which he is doing, and doing well. Okay, it's not about the fire chief out chasing a fire, or he will do it. I had a fire last week. He was the first guy there. Okay, so he will do it. But today's day and age, the fire chief is not the guy that should be out with an axe and a hose every time. Okay, there's tons of management that has to be done, and it's probably more important that that stuff gets done well, because he has great people underneath him to handle the calls. And as I look around this room, myself included, we've all taken advantage of that fire department, that rescue department, and they've probably saved some of our lives. Okay, so to disparage them ever, and quite frankly, I don't care what the cost is. And the taxpayers don't care what the cost is, because every year, everything the fire department wants, people vote for it. Okay? It's not up to a few people that think it's too much money. The masses want it, they voted for it, and they want that protection. they enjoy that protection, and they're willing to pay for it. So if anybody disparaged them up there in the way that's being run now, again, shame on him and anybody else. Second thing, the forensic accountant has been named and has produced spreadsheet after spreadsheet of corrections and entries that need to be made. Is that correct? Have they been made?
They are being finished up this week.
Who's making them?
Julie has to make them.
And
Under his direction.
under his, so he's,
He's not here.
yeah,
She is constantly on the phone or emailing back and forth.
so she's making the corrections that he suggested. Okay. Has he submitted?
And just so you know, he's fluent in Trio.
Fantastic.
So
Good thing that somebody is. Has he billed anything for any of his work?
billed us $500.
Okay. Which he's probably entitled to, and he should get it, and he looks like he did a lot of work. But you sat here and told everybody he was free. But again, he's entitled to the $500. He did the work. Pay the man and move on, especially if he gets it right. So I hope he's getting it right so we can finally straighten out some of the stuff. The last thing I have is I sent an email to everybody on the board 5-6 days ago regarding the town plowing of town-owned properties. Did everybody get it?
What, John?
Plowing of town-owned properties, the town-owned properties contract.
I never put that in.
It's not out yet.
No,
No,
the
he's talking
existing one.
about the existing
The
contract.
existing one. Brady got, I mean, it went to the BOS. It went, I'm assuming that goes to the
No, it
administrator?
doesn't.
No?
No,
It always
the
did?
BOS does not go to the admin.
Does not, okay, that's changed?
The BOS email,
Yeah.
everything that's sent to that comes to me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
It always did.
I get, hold on,
Oh, so I'm double sending you email?
it's fine. But yeah, anything that is sent to the BOS email on the website comes to me.
Okay.
So if people are worried things are not getting to the board, they are, because they're coming to me first, and I am either putting them on the agenda or they are getting to the board.
Did you receive it?
Let me double check. Hold on.
Brady did, because he gave me a quick response. So Brady got it. I always ask when I send an email if somebody with a town email would direct it to Howard, because I know you're not getting your town email. So that being said, the contract's online, the contract's in hand, everybody has the contract.
I got a copy of both the ones from October 25 to May 26, and October 25 to May 1st, and then May 26.
So the contract that's online, and the one I have here, goes to May 1st of 2027. So why are you putting it back out to bid now?
We haven't put it out to bid.
You're not, are you going to put it out to bid, or is this
Yes.
for
So
when?
We're dealing with those contracts. We've got
Next week.
that contract and the sidewalk contract that were redone, the verbiage and everything was redone by the attorney.
To start when?
We haven't even got to that point, John. We have to go into have a workshop to work on those two contracts. Those are the last ones. We're opening up the contracts tonight for or bids rather, for.
So are you doing this a year in advance? Which would be great, if that's what you're doing.
Well, we will be looking at the current contract too, as a board, to review it, to decide at the following meeting of what to do regarding that.
There's a contract here that says, this contract, the contractor agrees to commence performance of services on or before October 1st, 2025, and complete the services by May 1st of 2027, unless otherwise agreed to in writing by the parties.
And that was signed just a month or so after the other contract was signed for 1 year.
Well, this was all signed on the same day in 2025.
So why have we got two there? I know I signed it.
Yep, I did. Why do we have two what?
Well, website.
Oh, wait, no,
is wrong.
the second one.
The website's wrong,
The website is so screwed up at this point, I don't even.
but this is the contract. I mean, this is the contract that everybody signed. Is there a different one?
I have two of them too.
You have two contracts?
Yep, I've got the one from October 25 to May 1st, 26, and the previous one from October, May 2025.
You don't have one that goes from 2025 to 2027?
No, because that's the one on the website that was not, this is the one that, the recent one.
But this is the one that's signed.
This
It's,
one is signed by everybody.
okay, so that one's expired. This one may be a new, I don't know. I mean, this goes to 2027.
And this
So-
one goes to 2026.
Great, so now we got, great, that one ends, and now you got a new one.
You signed this one.
Okay, I signed this one.
This is why,
The attorney has gone over both those. And I can't remember what his result was, that was you, Laurie?
I don't remember off the top of my head on that. I would have to go back and look, but this is why we are supposed to be discussing these at the workshop
Right.
next week.
There's been so much other stuff going on that,
No, I understand that. I think if you're doing this a year in advance, great pre-planning, that's fine. I'm all for that. But the town has a contract
It's a
till
little unnerving to
2027.
have more than one contract for two different sets of time, but the same starting time out, that are signed out in the public. I mean, if you have one contract that the public has that ends one day, and you have another contract that has a different ending date, both of them are signed, which one is accurate?
Well, it's common sense, the one that ends later.
Not necessarily.
Well,
That's
you
why we
can't
need
take
to,
you can't take a signed contract away from a guy because someone put a 6 in instead of a 7
We're
or
not
whatever.
saying we are. We're saying
Right.
we need to sit down, we need to go through it as a board and review it. We have not been able to do that yet. That's all. We need to go through
I mean,
it. We're not gonna stand here and say, you know what,
it's one-
Sean, you're right, we need to do
It's one
this
sentence.
without looking at
I'm
it.
just saying, it's one sentence. I mean,
Right.
you look at it in 12 seconds.
the other problem is what the attorney has done, all three contracts for snow removal.
It's changed them.
He has
Drastically.
changed a lot of things in there because there are a lot of things in there shouldn't have been in there, John.
I agree with you. And that same contract was reviewed by, I don't know if Ben's reviewing them now, but when Ben was at Jensen Baird, they reviewed them and gave them back to us. So you can look back through your bills. We already paid them to be done once, and now they've been done twice, and Cheryl's found mistakes in them, in the new one. So I'm not blaming you guys. I mean, you sent it to the attorney. We sent it to the attorney years ago for the same thing to be done. They're just, I mean, they're not, it's, and
There have been obviously changes done.
yes, and I think there needs to be
And
changes.
what Ben has been looking at, or did, was provide us with a, if I will, boilerplate contract with all the necessary legal stuff in it. And then what we do is specify, like in the case of the properties, what property's getting plowed and from
The
where to
request
where.
years ago was to have a town contract for any work that was done. And then there'd be an appendices for the actual project that's being done.
That's basically
And-
what he's done, but he has brought it up to present-day law, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this contract signed, it's got a date, needs to be honored.
Well, Joanne? Nobody said we're changing anything, Charlie. No. We haven't reviewed them yet. We haven't even done the work on those.
That hasn't expired yet, that plowing contract, so why do you have to have your lawyers review it?
They reviewed all of them. It's basically the verbiage in the contracts. That's what they've been reviewing. We just meant she's next. Joanne?
I too last week was extremely upset at the conversation about our fire department. And I've been very upset in past meetings with people saying that we spend the same amount as Waterboro, or nearly the same amount as Waterboro, when I knew that that wasn't true. So I took about an hour. I went to the appropriate place. I did my homework. I called Waterboro. I got the current new budget for Waterboro. This is our current new budget for Limerick. Waterboro's budget is $1,921,519. According to what the people voted at town meeting, our budget is $881,850. Less than half of Waterboro's. In fact, it's only 45.89% of Waterboro's. Nowhere near what people are saying. I have a breakdown. Their operating budget is only $214,800 to operate that fire station for a year. I don't call that anywhere near unreasonable. The payroll, $669,300. I don't call that unreasonable. Whether you have 4,000 people or you have 8,000 people, you have to man your fire department 24/7. So it makes no difference. Per diem, the per diem is $465,000. That's for our paramedics and our EMTs. The call force, which we were discussing last week, is what they get $15 a call for. That is low, but they're also covered under workman's comp. When they were volunteers, they had no workman's comp whatsoever, and we changed that years ago. They are not volunteers, they're employees, and they're covered by workman's comp. Our chief, our fire chief, our deputy fire chief, and the officers, $94,000. Our chief and our deputy chief are both part-time, half, 20 hours, I believe. Try to get a full-time fire chief for $90,000. You're not going to do it. Not going to do it at all. There's $4,000 in their budget for transition of positions. Holiday pay, $8,300, and FICA and Medicare, $45,000. That's a total of $881,850. In addition, as of June 29th, we have $100,000 that came in thanks to Sonny and the people on the board at the time that set up the ambulance, the billing, the ambulance billing. We got $100,000 this year up until June 29th. In fact, we got $100,738.85. That will surely double. That's a couple of $100,000 that goes into the ambulance billing every year. So we don't have to pay for ambulances and fire trucks. We also get $1,800 a month. That's for the sweep. That's the interest that we get on the billing account. $1,800 a month. That's another $21,000. Deduct that from $881,850. Our fire department doesn't cost us much at all.
I just want to say from observation, thank you, Howard, for modeling for all those watching, how when John was up here, the way that you were interacting with him reminded me of why eventually I want to be able to bring, I have a 9.5-year-old daughter, and my nieces. It was respectful. I think there was a little misunderstanding and trying to have that communication. There's times when we get frustrated. I get it. But I thank you. I disagree at times. I'm the first to call people out. But that right there was professionalism, and it was nice to see. We have to take a minute, the way when we're in an elected position, how we're coming at citizens. That is the piece I'm talking about. A few years ago, it's probably like 6, 7 years ago now, I think it was during COVID when we were at the Bricktown Hall, John had reinstated meeting decorum and the policy on, I think my dad had mentioned it, and then John made it a thing that how we do those things. I think we've shied away from it a little bit. You know, my master's degree is in behavior analysis. And so when I'm watching people pointing fingers in people's faces, people who are my elders, people who I watched raise kids my age, things that I have taught my students. I study behavior and try to change those things. I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But it's one of those things that we're modeling. And those are the things that I want us to get back to. I'd like to be able to bring teenagers in here and show them how public service works. It's not always going to be pretty, but I think in that moment, I really appreciated that interaction between the two of you. As far as the contract goes, just for clarification purposes, I do have a hearing deficit, so if I ask a question that was already said, I apologize. Sometimes I use a device on my phone. A couple months ago, I accidentally had the volume on and it went off. I got really embarrassed to run out. So sometimes I do use my phone. So my question is, I understand that you are looking at the contracts. I think it's great. John acknowledged that there's things that we need to tweak. We have to honor that contract is what I was hearing you say, Howard, because if not, we bite that contract because then we're not following through with it. So regardless of whether we change any contracts going forward, we still have to honor the current contracts through the expiration date, correct?
The big problem with that situation is you have 2 contracts.
Okay.
That were signed very closely together.
Okay.
And I can't remember what the rationale, why that one that ends next year.
Okay.
I don't remember, okay? Unfortunately, I don't take all these notes that a lot of other people do.
And that's okay. It's where are we now, right?
But the main thing is this board is trying to be fair with everybody.
Okay.
And I'll tell you one thing, I don't appreciate when I see things on Facebook with attacks against me or any other member of the board. There's no need of that. If you got a problem, whoever it is, you come right to me, or you talk to the board member. Putting this garbage, and that's what a lot of it is, out on Facebook, people don't even know what's going in this one, and they chime in. The next thing you know, you got a little problem goes into a big problem. And we're taking the hit on a lot of crap. A lot of stuff that didn't happen.
It's the same thing with all the contractors too. People pick on you, people pick on us. It goes everywhere.
I'm going to interrupt
Charlie, it happens.
because there is a different precedent, and I hear what you're saying, Howard, because when I speak, my mama taught me at a young age, it was hard to learn. She said, if you're going to run your mouth, make sure you have facts to back it up. Absolutely. Now, so when you see something I post, I'm going to make sure that I can back it up. Now, I'm going to say there's a lot of coffee talk, and when people 3 times my age are talking about punching people in the face, that's an issue. I would never regurgitate that online, but I will say things that are factual. People do take things out of context or push things through the edge. Now, I just want to, I don't want to go, I hear what you're saying. I think a lot of us have grown up together. A lot of us have lived through things. And it is sad where we are. It's small town, it's statewide, it's nationally, it's worldwide. We're allowed to have different views. We're allowed to have, when things get nasty, it's when people no longer feel as though they can communicate. And so we have to bring it back. And we do also have to remember there's a different precedent, and I'm not taking away from what you said. I'm not at all. But we do have to remember there's a different precedent between elected officials and citizens. Not taking away from things, because I've seen some nasty things said. Same token, it's been, I think, things coming from elected officials are not the same coming from citizens. That's not taking away nasty things at all. Because there's some things that get taken out of context. I hear you, 100%. So I support that. I agree with you. Not nasty things. We can debate and have differences of opinion on fact. And sometimes we don't like when things are proven with, or differences of opinion with fact. But I do want to get back to the contract. Because this is a professional setting. The only time we will go on Facebook, because not everybody can attend these meetings, that is a platform that gives people the latitude to discuss town politics. When it comes to town financial matters, that involves everybody and can be backed up with financial records. And when there's a feeling of impropriety, we're all privy to that information. If you ever feel as though there's something that is not fact-based, whether you agree with it or not, you're my next door neighbor. You have known me since I was born. Whether we disagree or agree, you reach out 1,000%. If it's other people, let's mitigate that. Because if it's just nasty, that's different than differing opinions on what can be backed up. Nastiness without being able to, just differing opinion, that's different. But whether anybody disagrees on something, we're all in the same small town, we should all be able to communicate. But I appreciate us being able to communicate. We're adults. It doesn't seem like that because you saw me running around in a diaper.
There's been a lot of things put on that Facebook.
Yep.
That I've been accused of that I didn't. If somebody wants got a problem, you come and see me.
Not everybody feels comfortable, but I do hear you.
But what people don't realize, now that we're on the subject,
yeah, definitely,
is there is a lot of, I'll use the term crap out there.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
About the books and everything else. I've been watching those books now for a year and a half. We are very close to having everything straightened out. Yes, I looked around, I found a forensic accountant, okay? And he has done quite a bit of work.
Okay.
And it's being worked on now, and there has been some questions when it's come in, and Julie has been calling him, and he's a CPA, he's a principal in another firm, but he does consulting on the side, okay? And he can't take away from a class example, he can't take away from his regular work. He's in Bangor this week on a project.
Yeah.
But he takes time to either call or text back and say, okay, do this, or if there's a question of, whatever it is, he's been there to help her. But it's this constant, you gotta wait for him to get back or Julie to respond to him. It's a time lag. It drives me nuts, okay? Because I'd rather have him just come right in here and work, but these guys don't work cheap.
I understand that.
And we paid $30,000 for an audit. We're still finding stuff back in '24 in that audit. And I've got the auditor supposed to come, he's scheduled to come in here tomorrow. He can't because, and the guy that's doing the forensic was recommended by him and our attorney.
I really appreciate that. That is we're diving into it. And unfortunately, it's a snowball effect when things have been accumulating.
But the fact of the matter is, just to add to that, the reason why I brought it up about getting him in, you needed someone independent from everything. You know, we've had local people, I'm not gonna mention names, that have helped.
Yeah.
You know, have put their 2 cents in, okay? And one who's put quite a bit of time into it.
Yeah.
But that's an opinion. We need someone that's got the credentials to come in, that's fluent in that accounting program, and that is not an easy program. You know, and things can get mislaid. Everybody who works on computers knows all you got to do is you get playing around, putting in figures, you hit the wrong button, everything goes out in cyberspace somewhere. And I'm not saying that's happened on everything, but mistakes can be made where none of us are perfect. Okay? I'm just praying right now, and I've been watching, I'm in here on a daily basis. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't walk in and say, what's going on? Or get printouts on things. And I think we're very close to getting it. It's either we have this guy do this work and get things where they're supposed to be, or when that auditor comes in, we have a base cost with him of $15,000. Plus, if he finds something, that's over and above. If he has to go in and fix this and fix that. That's what we're trying to get rid of right now, those little shaded areas. Not to say that he can come in and say, oh, I found a couple things at a cost, excuse me, I spent 3 more hours. It's $195 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay? That doesn't take too long to build up into the thousands. And by going and getting this other guy who's independent, he doesn't, you know, these accountants know each other, okay? He can look at both sides. He's not taking sides with either one. With either Julie or anything. He's looking at the facts and telling them, this is what I see. And he's trying to get it corrected right now. And Julie is working with him. You know, that's all I can tell you. I'm just hoping and praying we get it, because I do not like to pick up an expense report and say, is this right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate your response, and I respect people's differences of opinion on the matter. What we need to do is go forward. I think we just need to all remember and respect that our biggest issue is when we have taxes and those expenses rather than my paycheck, the amount of taxes that come out to support all of these things. And even like Cheryl was saying, you know, we don't have the opportunity to have public water. We don't have the opportunity to have public sewer. So all these things, when we see, because things that are maybe not quite right, you know, it's a concern for everybody. So, and I'm not even diving into everything else, but it's just concerning when it's all of our money. We all feel the strain financially. So that is the biggest thing. And the differences of opinion is where we find responsibility. I appreciate you having that person come in.
But where we have the problem is when people get hostile. And it's got to a hostile. Audrey Waltz made a good presentation here one night. It's more out of anger than anything else. When she got up and told everybody, you gotta just take a deep breath and let's work together. Because you can get a lot farther with a jar of honey than you can a gallon of vinegar. And I'll tell you, there's a hell of a lot of vinegar going around here.
Yes, I'm gonna leave it at that. Because I'm a firm believer in personal responsibility, but I also agree with your sentiment as well. I look forward to seeing the reports from the auditor, and thank you for your conversation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jackson, you want to go next? Seeing as how you should have been on department reports.
Yeah, sure. Hello. So I have two big concerns. As most of you know, I'm the contractor for the mowing. The first is that I need a key to enter Boy Scout Island, because the first couple times this year I've showed up and it was locked and I had to take my mower down the ATV trail to get into there. Would prefer not to do that anymore. It's been open the last two times I've been there, but I'm sure come September it'll be locked up again.
When did you go down and it was locked?
It was May and then the beginning of June.
Okay, that was before we changed the locks and everything.
Yeah, so I need access for that. And then my second concern is the fact that the irrigation at the ball field has been running past 7 a.m. I've showed up multiple times and it's been going off to 10, 11 a.m. And that's not convenient for me. And it's not convenient for the community, because anybody that wants to use that ball field while that's going on can't, because they're gonna get sprayed. And then the other thing with that is it's not the best for the grass, because the best time to water is right before the sun comes up until like right after, so that it has time to get into the root system of the grass. So those were my two big issues for the day.
What we can do is give you the name of the fellow that controls that irrigation system, because he does some of the stuff remotely.
Yeah.
And you're better off to talk to him than us calling him and then getting back to you. Go right to the source and find out.
Perfect. And the other thing is, I don't know if he charges you anything, but I've worked on irrigation systems in the past when I was working for other people, and when most of the time you go in, it's just a computer screen, you can set it up. I'd be more than happy to do it for free if I had access to the system. I mean, I can't guarantee that's how it's set up, but
I have not personally seen anything about this. All I know, it's there.
Yeah.
And that's it. We pay him a fee to charge it, check it out, and we pay him a fee to drain it and winterize it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to drain it or like set it up for the year, but when you set the sprinkler system for when it goes on, it's just a computer screen in most systems.
That'd be an easy fix for you.
Yeah, I just need access to where, I'm assuming it's in the little building that's down there, and I would like to have permission before I did anything like that.
Okay, just, if you ever get to go in there, just don't touch their equipment.
Okay.
That's in their contract.
Yeah. Would it be good?
Courtney, can you find that person's telephone number and give it to him? It's on the bill.
I gotta wait for this thing to wake up sometimes, sorry. After you and I talked, I did email the irrigation company and they're willing to like change the schedule. So I can give you the name, or if you want me to email them, and I can CC you in the email.
Yeah, if you could just send me an email with the contact information for them, that would be great.
Yeah, I can do that tomorrow.
Perfect, thank you. All right, that's all from me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
I also want to express my support for the men and women of the fire department, and more importantly, the fire chief himself. It's not just the fire department, it's a life-saving organization. The chief has a responsibility that I don't think you can possibly fathom. He's got to be responsible for every man and woman in that department. They have to be well-trained and equipped to handle any emergency that they are called upon. He's got to be responsible for all the equipment, make sure it's in working order, it's clean and functional, to be able to go on a call and work properly. Then God knows he's got a lot of paperwork to do. I can't even imagine the paperwork that comes from running a fire department. He was here last week, and he said he cannot properly run a department when he has an individual who continues to violate the rules and regulations of the department, where the rules do not apply to him. Jared said he cannot run the department effectively. Now, I get along with Steve, but I happen to disagree with him on this issue. Doesn't mean I don't like him, doesn't mean I don't respect him. All it means is I disagree with him. Now, Jared has to make tough decisions, and he did just that. So with that being said, when Steve comes before this board, not just this board, but other boards as well, and he speaks about operations of the fire department, his displeasure with personnel,
Bill,
equipment,
I think you're getting
maintenance.
involved in an area that you shouldn't be going in right now,
Why is that?
because it's under legal.
As of right now, he's not a member of the fire department.
No, but we're dealing with that.
All right,
issue.
so you don't have to answer any questions. I'd just like you to hear me out.
Right, but we can't,
You don't have to answer anything. Just hear me out.
right, I understand that. But anything that is discussed can impact the final decision. And we have to avoid that until we have our final decision from that hearing. We have to avoid being in that position. We need to make sure that what we're recollecting about, you know, about what Steve is saying or what Steve is doing and what Jared is saying and, you know, what's going on with the fire department, we have to try to contain it to just the hearing.
Right,
And
and
everything that we heard.
and I'm only going to talk about what happened at
But we
the hearing.
can't, the hearing is closed.
No,
So we can't at this point. It has to be, anything that is discussed about it has to be done in executive session with the board to come to their final decision before we can open it up to public comment at this point because the hearing was
All
closed.
right, well, let me say this then. The citizens of Limerick elected this board. And in turn, they actually hired the board to make decisions for the town. And you do that. Some decisions are liked, some are not liked. But the residents trusted you all to make those decisions, and they felt you were responsible enough to do that. I don't know if it was this board, but one of the boards hired the fire chief. And by doing that, you trusted him as well with the everyday operation of the fire department. And you trusted him to make decisions for that fire department. And he did just that. And like he said last week, he cannot run the department under the current circumstances. So when he says that, believe him. It's 100% true. So all I can say is, my God, let him do his job. That's all. Let him do his job. He knows more about it than anyone here. Let him run the department. That's all. Thanks.
Herb,
Joanne and John stole some of my thunder, but I think they both said what they said with far more eloquence than I'm able to. But I think it's important that the people, as citizens of Limerick, understand. A lot of people have been asking a lot of questions or making statements that the town of Limerick hired or voted to hire a full-time fire chief, and we don't have one. Is that true? Did the town of Limerick actually vote to hire a full-time fire chief?
I've been searching back at minutes of meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not done yet, so I can't answer that.
Okay. That being said, the Board of Selectmen are the ones that have hired these fire chiefs. Is that correct?
That's right.
And you guys are responsible for telling the fire chief how many hours he has to be there, what he has to do. Does he have a contract, or does he have just a job description? You guys all read it?
What?
Have you guys all read it? Do you know what's in it? How many hours a week is the fire chief supposed to work?
This contract, it's 20, up to 24.
Up to 24? Given all the scuttlebutt that's been out and around, it's been mentioned here, it's been mentioned all over town at various things. I think it'd be very important if the Board of Selectmen could stand up and say, well, you know, you guys are wrong. The fire chief's only supposed to be here for about 20 hours a week. I think it would solve a lot of problems with, I mean, I feel that when these statements are made, people are picking on the fire chief. When actually, if they're picking on anybody, it ought to be you guys. The other ones that decided what the hours are that he works, not his fault. So I think it's important that, you know, you guys clear the air to the people, the naysayers out there that are saying the fire chief isn't doing his job, because he truly is.
I think the people that are spreading the crap ought to clear the air, too.
Well, here I am. I mean, I'm sorry. I know that you and I don't get along very often. We have in the past.
Your opinion, I have mine.
That's right. I agree. And, you know, unfortunately, when I feel I'm being pushed, I push back, and I push back hard.
You notice, I don't make comments on Facebook.
Maybe you should.
No, because it just spurs more crap.
But, you know, not everybody attends these meetings and knows what's going on here. Not everybody watches it on TV. And not everybody hears everything on Facebook. But it's a good, and Amanda said it pretty well, it's a good avenue for many people to hear a lot more about what's going on. And sometimes what I hear, maybe I don't hear it the same way you say it, but I know what I take from it. And sometimes I just don't like it. And if pardon me, but you know, if I think I got a mouthful of shit, I'm going to say it. But anyway, thank you.
Anyone else? Cheryl?
I don't know which subject to start with, but I guess when we were talking about the fire department, we'll go with that one. Way back when, there was a committee supposedly set up to hire a fire chief. Originally, it was supposed to be full-time, but it went round and round the barn and here and there. Where it turned out, I'm not sure, but it was supposed to be a fire chief that was here full-time. Whether the town voted on it, or the committee decided on it, or the selectmen, I haven't got that information. But at the time, it was supposed to be a full-time fire chief. We have one that's 20 hours. So be it. I had a FOIA in a couple, 3 weeks ago. Jared finally got everything that I asked for, and he was supposed to be here tonight for his department report, and I had a couple of questions for him, but I do thank him for sending him it, because it was exactly what I had asked for, very complete, very precise. There was a few things that I wanted to ask, but I see that he was on the schedule tonight and no show, so I don't know what the problem was, but I will hopefully be able to catch him next week. So that being said, there's a lot of talk about, oh, well, people shouldn't talk about people. People shouldn't badmouth people. It's not nice. Well, I've done nothing but sit up here for the last 2 months and listen to somebody being trashed without the facts. In one fact, apparently last week was reconciled and found out that she wasn't a thief, and she wasn't someone that was just making checks out for herself. We want to name names, we can name names, but I'm sure everybody knows. But everybody was up here just stabbing her in the back. She didn't do this, and she did this, and she wasn't supposed to do this. And well, guess what? They all got egg on their face because she didn't. Is anybody up here talking about apologizing for bad-mouthing someone? Just because this person said it, and it's like you start a rumor, and by the time it gets down to the other end of the town, it's blown out of proportion. But Facebook, it would be okay if everybody could contribute to each page, but you have to be special to get accepted on the certain page that has everybody on it, which I wouldn't be because I'm not on Facebook. Okay, so we got that one done. Standing up here being disrespectful, I agree, everyone should talk very nicely, but when you're standing here arguing when it should be, yeah, okay, you got this contract, I got this contract, let's sit together. I want to see the website one. I haven't seen that one. I've got 2 of the other copies. But it wastes time standing here telling everybody, oh, I got this, I got this. No, it's not. Well, things for the previous board has been in circles before, done the way they pick on you, Howard, and they say, well, you do things behind everybody's back. Well, no, you're chairman. And we had a chairman that did the exact same thing for years, and nobody recommended him. So just be equal. You would never see my face up here at this podium if everybody in this town contracts, working, this, that, and it's a good way to get rid of me. Equal. Everybody. Planning board, appeals board, building permits, whatever there is, you treat everyone the same. And then you don't have to remember the lies you tell. You tell the truth. There's a lot more there, but I'm not going to bore you tonight because it's getting late. I'll be back next week.
Okay, well, one more comment.
Just want to make a comment. Nothing about this. I just want to let you guys, I was actually rec director when the irrigation system went in. In the shed, the rec shed, there is the box that controls the time for the irrigation. So anybody has the key or combination to go in can change the time of irrigation. You don't need.
I think that can be done remotely, because
In both ways.
we pay a fee, and I can't remember just how that's written, but I believe it can be done, because the guy that does it, like, I have to look, I
They
believe he
can
lives
put
in
on their
Lyman.
phone. I know, because they help,
So,
but it
I
also
think
has
so.
to be done.
What?
Bill Singer's his name, I believe.
Yeah, but we're just talking about
Yeah.
the controls.
They probably don't want people touching their
No,
equipment.
and they
Right.
shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
No.
Can I stop? This is going to be really fast.
The people that have multiple keys on things, that's how we've had problems, believe me.
It'll be really quick. I hope so.
Very quick.
It'll be fast. It literally took me about 3 minutes, but just to be careful to save yourselves, I found this. So under Maine Title 30A, Section 260A, 8, regardless of pending personnel decisions, citizens do have the right to still make comments and name people by name. It's you all and lawyers that cannot make comments. This was actually just reaffirmed in the Blanchard v. Education in Augusta, Maine. The Supreme Court ruled it. I'm just letting you know that Maine state law says that they can. So we just want to be careful of that. I found it in like 3 minutes. So just be mindful of that. We don't.
Okay. I guess, any other hearing citizens? Okay, let's go on here. Deep Vale update, we've already had that, I believe. Enough on that. Tax acquired property, Stan is
Already gone over that?
already gone, and we've already signed that other contract. Boy Scout Island attendant, we had a little bit of a misunderstanding, I guess, as far as the funding on this. So I'm going to call the guy back tomorrow morning, and I'm pretty sure he'll be doing it, but I have an awful gut feeling he will. But what I thought was the figure was actually not the figure. So
It was a monthly figure, not the yearly
Right.
figure.
So we'll deal with that. New business, Stone Hill Road bids.
Isn't that part of,
That is.
that's part of Dayton Sand and Gravel's
That's part
bid?
of Dayton's, and,
No, that was last year. Was that on the contract this time? This was supposed to be done last year.
What?
Stone Hill was never shouldered
I
from
know,
last year.
let me just,
Okay.
Ricky, myself, and Wade went with the estimator from Dayton Sand and Gravel last week. As of tonight, we have everything. Ricky, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not looking at this stuff, rather than digging through a bunch of paperwork here. We're getting basically everything done, and actually, we're going to probably get more done than what we had planned just by going around and looking at these jobs. So right now, just, Rick, you probably do a better job on that thing than I will.
And we did bring money from last year forward for the shouldering, to pay for it.
Right. But the shoulder is going to be included in what's being done.
Dayton?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, it was supposed to be done last year. We talked about that at the previous meeting, and I asked them, the previous paving contractor, about doing it this spring, and it didn't get done. So with our little field trip, I asked Jason to take Stonehill Road so we could look at that again and give us a quote on that with 4 other roads that we have prices on, and so far we're looking very well. And the price on Stonehill Road for the shoulder gravel actually came in under what we were quoted last year.
Want to tell them how much?
Just about $5,000. And so far, the paving has come in on Johnson Road, Foss Road, Rangy Road, Shimming the Hill. We want to get a price on overlaying that too. And the second quote I got was for finishing Emery Corner Road from the pump house to Sawyer's Mountain, and I got a price on finishing the paving from the 2 sections on Sawyer's Mountain where they paved both hills and completing in between the 2 hills. So it would be beneficial for all year round, not just snow plowing, but for maintaining dirt roads, if we can get that small section completed. And so far, we're at $298,000. So with that being said, we're going to look into getting possibly another road either shimmed or overlaid or more shoulder gravel done. But the shoulder gravel for Stonehill Road, I feel, should come out of Article 50, like we talked about, and the Budget Committee carried it over. So that is going to offset the paving part quite a bit. So that came in at 24.4, and we carried over 53,000, so there's going to be money for other repairs, or it could go for paving, it could go for hazardous trees, it could go for whatever we discuss. We'll come up with a plan.
Would it be easier and more practical if that money is, for the citizens to understand that money is allocated for shouldering, and you, as you've stated, and you know that there's more shouldering to be done, how do you feel? Would that, to continue that funding into shouldering so the citizens would understand that what they voted on for shouldering on one road would continue on another?
Well, we'd have to discuss that with you folks, because as it stands, we want to take Article 50 money and complete Stonehill Road shoulder, and then why don't we discuss the balance of that with other projects?
Very good.
And see how everybody feels.
All this stuff's got to get done.
Yep.
In their timeline, he's talking the 2nd week of August. So we're hustling now to get a couple of roads cleaned out, get the ditches done, and get the bushes cut back. So we're not going to wait till later in the season when it's a little cooler.
Hey, Ricky?
Yes.
Speaking of ditches and cleaning out and trimming, New Dam and Dole's Ridge, making a left turn onto Dole's Ridge from New Dam, if you're in a car, extremely difficult.
A guy named John has called me on that, and we cut that down and there's an Asian vine in there that keeps growing, so
There's massive rocks.
Yes, there is.
Can we get that intersection maybe ditched out and?
that was supposed to be done by the solar company, and
Yeah.
it's been a couple of years, so I think we're gonna have to take it upon ourselves to take care of that.
But there's stone walls in there, and I think there's a well there. There's a lot of stuff in that corner.
So we gotta be careful.
So when we do it, we gotta do it by hand. We can't take a machine in there. That's what we had to do last time.
We cut that all down recently, and it's growing back quick. And a gentleman, I think it's John Festa, he's a resident of Arrowhead, and he calls me once a month about that intersection.
That's bad.
It would be nice to dig that out and get rid of all
Got
that
permission
material.
from the landowner, so we could do that.
But Stan said that the solar company was supposed to address that issue along that road, and they haven't, so.
Well, I think they're gone.
But we need some flaggers if we're gonna do any work on that road, that's.
Yeah, it's a
But you're
dangerous
right,
area.
it's a visibility issue.
Yeah, from both sides, it's a, but, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next item, open the plowing bids. Now, I'd like to make a motion that we open the bids and we not make the decision on it tonight, and we analyze these bids and make sure that everybody is bidding apples for apples.
Take some
Rather than
time,
ju-
take some time to review
Rather
them
than just
before we
looking at
discuss
a
them
dollar
publicly.
figure, we look at the whole thing.
So can I amend your motion? I would make a motion to open the bids, view them, have the board review them, and come back to the table next week to actually discuss them publicly.
I hear a second? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Does that mean you won't announce the amounts?
Correct.
Oh, you should announce.
We can, yeah, we can announce the amounts. I just didn't want to discuss the particulars of them. Here, will you hand me one, Jerry?
Sure.
Throw one down to Wade.
For bid Wade.
Nope. Nope, I just had to get it started.
Okay, this one is from Richardson Trucking and Excavation, Steve Richardson, for $400,000 per year.
This one here is from Dennis Bridges Trucking, and it is for $430,000 per year.
And this one is Edgerly Trucking and Farming LLC for $728,000.
And I'm just asking because I don't know. When you're setting off these bids, do they have like a breakdown, a cheat sheet that they all need to follow? Because you're saying apple to apples. So that's why I'm asking. 'Cause they
Right, but they can write in changes, they can,
They can add it to it.
They all have a
Right.
criteria they have to meet.
they have the minimum,
Okay, thank you.
and
I
then
just
there's,
didn't know how that worked.
Quick question. Was the 720,000 per year or for 3 years?
1-year contract that was extendable
That was my question.
an
Are you-
additional 2 years.
Are you only doing a one-year contract?
They're a 1-year contract, which gives us, It gives us the ability to give them written notice 30 days prior to the end of the contract. If we don't, then it would automatically renew for another 2 years.
Well, because I believe, Howard, the one that you read said 400,000 per year, but yet the article in the shopping guide specifically stated for 1 year, so,
Right, and that's what they're bidding on, is per year.
okay. Why are we
Because
going
there's
to,
no guarantee that they'll get the additional renewal of 2 years.
well, usually, in the past, with the exception of the extension, it's been for 3 years because of the investment that the plow contractors potentially have to make to carry this out. So I'm just wondering, what incentive would there be for someone to bid on just 1 year, spend that amount, invest that amount, and not knowing if they're going to get an extension? And my second question is, didn't the voters approve back in March to approve the select board to enter into a 3-year agreement for plowing and sanding, salting of roads? Because you can do a 1-year contract without voter approval, but wasn't that one of the articles?
Right, that's why if we don't give them that notice, it's an automatic 2 additional years, bringing it to 3 years. But it also gives us, if the contractor is not living up to the contract, it gives us a way to say, we're not going to continue on after this year.
But correct me if I'm wrong.
You took it away from the last contractor.
Right.
He had it for 3 years and you took it away from him.
No, he took it, he had it for 3 years. He violated the contract.
Right.
When Cesario was plowing it, he took his last year away.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
He breached the contract.
Okay, but if the voters were asked, and I don't have the warrant in front of me from March, but if, I can look it up, I guess. But if the question was asked of the voters, do you authorize the selectmen to enter into a 3-year contract for plowing and sanding of roads for, I don't know, 26, 27, 28, 29, whatever the years are, and you don't honor that, I don't think that's honoring the will of the voters. I mean, that's what we asked for.
The wording was to allow to go into a 3-year contract. It doesn't say that the select board will guarantee a 3-year contract. It says allow a 3-year contract. That verbiage gives the 30-day notice to extend. And then to your first question about a 3-year contract or a 1-year contract, if a person bids for 1 year, then that person shows that they have the ability with their equipment, their personnel to provide a year. If you just give them 3 years open and their equipment fails, technology advances, roads change, now you're obligated to that 3-year contract.
But you have mechanisms in place in that contract to nullify it or cancel it. Correct. I think it's, Jerry, you've been in this around here as long as I have.
Yeah.
People have always presumed that when you ask for permission to get a 3-year contract, you are going to give them a 3-year contract. Now, to have a what if maybe depends on how they are going to perform. I don't think that's living up to what the people wanted. We wanted signed, sealed, and delivered. You have the opportunity with those, at least 2 of those you've had in the past do a good job. The other one, I don't know if he's done it before or not, but whatever. I think it's wrong to allow it to enter into a 1-year agreement when historically, I wish I had the warrant in front of me. I can go look it up and come back next week, but you probably have it in front of you. the voters expected 3 years solid.
Oh, man, I just told Shirley that.
Oops.
Dean, I don't think when we voted last time that was part of the warrant. As I look through it, I don't see it. That the voters gave approval for a 3-year contract this time. Now, that being said, with these numbers that you have, and you certainly have, I guess you could, for all intents and purposes, throw the high one out. You got 2 that are real close, both that have plowed before, both that have done an exceptional job for the town. I think it would be absolutely in the best interest of the town to, what if you give them 1-year contract and they say, we don't want to come back? What if they get a better deal somewhere else? Now you got to go out and scramble and now rebid it again and not know what your price is going to be. If you can fix this right now for $400,000 or $430,000 for 3 years, even without, I suggest you hold a special town meeting to have the townspeople vote to approve this contract for 3 years, because you've got 2 exceptional candidates and you could lose one after a year, because it can go both ways. But both have proven, both of the lower bidders have proven they can very successfully do the job. You know, you could get burnt, and instead of paying $400 next year, you could pay $5 and more the 3rd year.
Cheryl's next, and then Charlie.
I think Lori explained it the best way. It's there. Yes, they voted for the selectmen to, it's just like hiring the fire chief or whatever. It's the select board that runs the place. They are the bosses, and they have made a statement. They asked for the money for, it wasn't up to 3 years, but for a 3-year. It didn't say that it had to be written as such. You guys thought it over, however you come up with it, I don't know, but it sounds feasible. I mean, you know, you just never, whatever. I just think that people question your authority too much.
And really, I mean, it's a 1-year, it's a 1-year contract, but with an auto renewal of 2 years. Unless the town is not happy and we give them 30 days notice.
Unless we get into a contract like we did a few years ago when it was sloppy the first 2 years and finally got rid of it the 3rd.
What if the contractor wants out? Can they get out? Or if you tell them they have to come back, do they have to come back? If you offer them year 2 and year 3, are they obligated to take it, or can they say no?
I would have to look at it more close. I just know that it allowed the town to give 30-day notice.
There is a provision in there that they
There is a provision for them to
Yeah.
refuse.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not happy, they're not happy either. They're not going to do a good job.
You say you're giving them the option to go for 2 more years after that. Now, if you're giving them the option, what's the price on that option for the next 2 years?
It's an automatic renewal, which means this would be,
Just for that price?
yes.
Right.
So it'd be a 3-year price for whatever
No
they...
escalation
Correct.
on it.
Okay,
Same money for 3 years.
yeah. I don't know why you just don't do it to either one of them contractors and say 3 years, and if you don't like the way they plow, you do what you did to the last contractor. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I don't think you can do it the way you're going to do it. I think you've got to do the 1-year contract because you didn't put a warrant article in for 3 years. Now, if you're going to promise these people a 1 year and then possibly a renewal for another 2, you don't have that authority to do that at this point. All you can give is a 1-year contract.
So with the 1-year contract, a special meeting and vote on it.
Absolutely. I would go to a special town meeting to award it for 3 years. That's up to you guys. If you want to go to 3 years,
Yeah, but do they,
have to do that.
have they all been told that they're going to have the option for another 2 years?
Yes.
They have. They've all been told that?
But if we can commit for 400,000.
Then you need to get that vote before you make a decision, I think.
Next year.
Find the warrant, see what it says, how much, how long, make a decision then. If we voted on something with the plowing.
Yep.
Okay, so, next item, fire department key for vault records.
So the fire department is just requesting to have a key to the records vault, just in case for like the fire suppression stuff. So they're looking for a key for the outside, and then I believe you have to have a code to get inside. So they were just looking for the board's permission on that. And for us to get another key made for that, which we can just take down to the hardware store and get it made.
I know there's been issues with that.
I mean, obviously, if something goes wrong, fire department's gonna need access.
Yeah.
And the last time they had an issue, they called about it to get access.
They should be able to just get
Yeah,
access.
Yeah.
I would say,
It's a town property and.
give them the keys.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to get the fire department a key.
And code.
And code for the vault.
Okay, do I hear a second? Moved and seconded, give them the key. All those in favor? All opposed? Vote. Okay, set executive sessions. It's the next item. Do I have?
So we need 3 personnel executive sessions and 1 attorney, well, not attorney consult yet, but we
That has to be an executive session.
we have to do executive session because I guess it would be under personnel as well, the hearing.
It is. So, and we're also under a time frame on one, too.
On all of them? I mean, they all need to be.
Well, a couple of them we could be flexible on.
Wade? I mean, Brady's not here to ask, but can you do a Monday evening if we need to?
What time? 6?
Yeah.
7 to 6.
Okay.
What's the best for you?
6, fine.
Okay, so do we want to schedule 2 of them?
You gotta do the attorney one first.
Yep, has to be.
Well, the hearing one, we need to kind of sit down, go through all the exhibits and get a baseline of where we're at. Because my personal opinion
We need to
is,
talk before we get the attorney here.
I don't want to have the attorney in on very initial discussions on it. I think that would just be a waste of money.
I agree.
I think we're better off bringing her in after we've had a chance to kind of go through and review
Okay,
together. So do we want to do from 6 to 8 on Monday?
Next Monday?
Gail, can you be here for video? Monday, the 20th? 20th?
We can do it earlier if you need be.
I can do it anytime, so it's up to you. You're working.
I can do 5 o'clock on.
Why don't we make it 5 o'clock?
Okay.
Okay, August 20th at 5 o'clock.
What?
I just sneezed.
Oh, so 7:25.
20th, 20.
Okay, and we need, do we want to go the next 2 Mondays, or, because we've got a pretty full schedule the rest of them, on the Tuesdays. We can do the 20th and the 27th, those,
I mean, if we do 5 to 8, we might be able to get them all knocked out next week. And just be done with them.
not all 3 of them.
Because then,
I know we can't say, but I'm not aware of 3 and then the attorney one. I have no idea what you're talking about, other than,
I know, and I am happy to tell you in private. And part of it, I think I can safely say that, you know, I would like to have Jared come in because of complaints that have been received, just to kind of go over it with him without it being a specific person. But I think, you know, I know there is a lot of support for Jared. And, you know, there are other singular things that Jared may need to handle within the department that would fall under personnel.
Personnel concerns.
So that, you know, we can bring the concerns to Jared so that he can take care of it on his end.
Okay, so are we scheduling them on Monday, only the 20th?
I would say right now, we're gonna do the
From
20th from 5 to
5 to 8.
8.
I mean, I think we would be able to do,
We can take care of the first one, the hearing part in that time
So
period.
we'll schedule them for next Monday from 5 to 8.
yes,
August,
please.
I mean, July 27th is when we're gonna have to meet with the council on that, so.
Well, we're going to have to set another one to actually meet with the attorney to have her do the
That's
decision.
what I'm saying, the 27th.
Do the 27th? Okay.
And have that at, I would say have that at 6, because she's gotta come out of Portland. Well,
She can do Zoom, though.
She did earlier, though.
She can do Zoom.
That's true.
She can do Zoom at 5.
Okay.
And then we could just plan for 5 to 6 on that one and be done.
Maybe we can get it all done in that time period. Actually, you know something? Maybe we go 5 to 8 on that one, and we'll have it all done.
On which one?
27th. And just have it for an hour, because I think it's gonna take longer than
How about
that.
2 hours? Okay, we can schedule it for 3, and if we get done in 2, we get done in 2.
I know when we get talking about these things, it usually takes more than what we plan.
Yeah, okay, so, all right, so
Let's do this, 5 to 8, and if we get things done ahead of time,
then we're done early.
Bail, we can bail.
Yeah, then once we're done, we're done.
can you email me
Yes.
any information? Because do you
Yes.
know about it, Jerry?
No, I didn't,
No, this is just stuff that has been brought to me.
okay. Wait
You
a
have to make a
minute.
motion to go in, you have to make a motion to go into executive session.
Yep,
we do.
You have to give the statute you're going for.
yep,
And the position you're bringing, and what the reason you're bringing that position.
Always.
I.e., you have to say, we want a personnel matter to bring
No.
the transfer station manager to discuss her duties.
No,
no, we don't.
Absolutely.
no, you have to
No.
put a personnel matter.
No,
Can I-
You have to, it's
No,
it's
can
right
I
here in
say
black and white
something?
on the state statute.
Can I speak?
Please do.
Thank you. No, You cannot put all of that information in there because it is confidential information. You put the statute and whether it's a personnel matter or a legal consult, you cannot put anything else because it could potentially jeopardize the people that you're bringing in. So that is all we're allowed to advertise. That's it.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yes, it is. I have looked at the statute. I do this.
John, what you're saying is basically, we put a person's name out there. Yes.
No. And a sample from the Maine state statute says, I move that we go into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A to discuss the employment status and duties of the town manager. That's the Maine state statute example that they give you. Don't believe me. I mean, you check with your attorney tomorrow. Check with MMA. They'll tell you.
Get the shop, right? Find out, was it personnel, was it this or that, because it only had the numbers, MS, whatever, it was never had who it was.
In all fairness to the people that are going to be involved in the executive session, I don't feel it's right to have those positions.
No.
Don't take my word for it. Check with
Well, I'm
MMA,
not.
check with the law. But you should do it right. Just because you don't feel that that's the way it should happen, like I always say, just because you say it doesn't make it true. Just because I say it doesn't make it true. It's black and white.
I'm glad you said that, John.
Your attorney, absolutely. Your attorney or MMA, I'm sure can give you the answer. That's all I'm saying.
When you was chairman, I was constantly calling Alicia because it was just the initials, and I'd say, well, is it personnel or this? She never gave me the names, but she would tell me what category, but it was never listed on the agenda.
So I've done my research because I have to make sure these things are correct in doing my job. So we are only supposed to put the statute and what has been put forth in Maine law, what they are discussing, not who it's about, because it's a confidential issue. And I have done extensive research. I have checked with MMA. I have checked with Maine state law. So all that can be advertised, and I'm hoping this ends this, is the statute and whether it's a personnel matter or a legal consult. That's it.
Okay, let's, in the interest of time here, let's go on. Courtney, you're going to have to tell us this intersection of Locust Hill and Washington Street. What's this all about?
That's on me. I talked to Ricky about that today.
Okay.
There's a concern about sight distance from Locust Hill onto Washington Street. So I spoke with Dell tonight, and she said it was up to me to trim it back if she thinks it needs to be done. She recommended to contact DOT because they own so many feet back over there, which I can do that. So the area foreman's name is Keith. I've dealt with him plenty of times. He's easy to get along. He usually just leaves it up to me, uses my discretion. So if you want, I can reach out to him and make sure, you know, I know he's not going to have a problem with it because it's a sight distance thing, and we usually just address it. But today we got to reach out to everybody. But she's on board, so.
Okay. Can you
Isn't there
get a
quite
hold
a
of
bit
her?
of stuff's got to come down there?
A bunch of saplings. There's an overhanging branch in the street and a bunch of grass that's
I thought there was a large tree right there.
It's like a elm or something like that that's hanging out over the road. It wasn't too bad in the fall because there was no leaves on it, but now the canopy is hanging down.
It's not an easy
The
street to
state
come
won't
out
do
from
anything.
anyway.
The state won't touch it. We already asked them when we were sweeping the sidewalks if they could go up through there and just trim that out and
Okay, so you'll talk with them, DOT?
take care of it, yeah. I'll let you know when I get
Okay.
hold of it.
Thank you for contacting the landowner.
Okay, last.
well.
Okay, as far as the next item, the Roger Levelly property.
We already did that.
Do we want to have
I'm-
we're gonna do a little bit of research and then.
Yeah, I need to work with
Okay.
Stan and get those
Records.
That's
records
fine.
and
Okay, next item, the appointments and resignations. We have Lake Arrowhead Advisory Committee, Robert Berger, Joanne Andrews, Lucian Langlois, David Robertson, and Martha Smith for appointments.
I move to appoint them all to
Second.
the
Okay,
Lake
been
Arrowhead
moved
Lots
and
Advisory
seconded
Committee.
To appoint those individuals. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, we'll do that. Those are all made out, right? Yeah. Okay, and the last one we've already discussed with him. With that said, I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Can you give that to Ricky also, the thing that was in our folder? Okay.
Do you second it?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, adjourned, all in favor? Good night. Just got a meeting, so
Wait.
that.